So maybe we can start in a minute, Ravi.
Yeah, a minute or two will wait and get started.
We'll start, Ravi. I think in the interest of
Yeah.
people who joined in time.
People are joining, so
Yeah.
we'll get started.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot, everybody who has joined the meeting. We have few more people, rather lot more people joining a minute or two later. And the organization that we belong to is Coyolia Technologies. We had a very profound thought that the importance of data and data security, and then the employee productivity, how they are interrelated. We thought of conducting a session for everybody's knowledge and awareness. And we in that process we reached out to a couple of people, people from industry, and then organizations like Flowtrack and Cloudmate, and we came up with this concept of a webinar to educate people. A quick small intro about Coyolia. Coyolia is a 1 year and 2 month-old organization based in Hyderabad. We work predominantly in training and development, upskilling. We are also partners with organizations like Google Cloud, AWS. We are change makers. Adelda is an NGO based in Bangalore. Apart from training and AI consulting through cloud, we also are associated with a education or business school based in Hyderabad called Vishwa Vishwani. We started working with them and establishing a incubation center for them, which is called Navista. Navista means new beginning. And we would request everybody to go through our website coyolia.com and check us out on LinkedIn to know more about us. Moving on, we have 5 eminent guests with us today. The topic of the discussion today is data security and employee productivity, and we'll explore how those are very, very interrelated, and how data security and productivity are no more an optional or a nice to have thing. They've become pretty much important for the survival and growth of the any organization. In guests, we have Maushami Dhar from Indospace. She's a Chief Human Resource Officer. Along with her, we have Mr. V.V. Subbaraj Garu. He's Senior Director and Chief Information Security Officer with Entity Data Business Solutions. He's bringing a lot of information, rather knowledge about the information security aspect of the data and employee productivity. We also have Vidyu. He's a CEO of Cloudmate. Cloudmate is application monitoring SaaS-based product. They are based in Bangalore. And we also have Chandra. Chandra is from a company called Flowtrack, based in India and Australia. He's the CEO of the organization. And he's going to help us understand, he and largely Vidyut and Subbaraj are going to help us understand, or rather they'll share their insights, have a discussion around the topic. Finally, we also have Avinash Kulkarni, CEO of our organization, Coyolia Technologies. Okay, so welcome everybody. Welcome to all our eminent guest speakers. I know I will hand over the session to Chandra to take it further as a moderator and a lead speaker. Over to you, Chandra.
Thank you, Ravi. Let me share my screen. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, all. You're all from, I think we have people registered from multiple locations, so outside India as well. Thank you for joining in. Today we are going to be, focusing on data security and employee productivity. It's a very kind of, niche space, and also something very critical for every organizations to think about and how to balance it, right? So personally, me being in this space with some of our solutions in the market, working with a lot of clients in this, various industries. This is, very important to balance. If you are looking at security, how you wanted to really introduce, the efficiency hackers, tools that actually, make employees highly productive, right? How do you actually balance it? We are not, talking a theory here, right? We are talking about solutions that monitor what employees are actually doing at their system, from the file transfer perspective, data transfer perspective, what sort of sensitive informations are flowing from our internal network to external world, whether they are copying something or not, what sort of application they are using. So I just want to start with a open question, to set a context to everybody, to all the panelists here. In 2024 and even in 2025, the data breaches are very common, right? So we had a lost us story, Uber story, and Toyota story, right? So, and we have stories every time, and the cybersecurity is an evolving subject, and but we keep hearing the data breaches across the globe. How a larger organization may be, what can be, what may be your security infrastructure, but we still have loopholes where we compromise on data. Right? So it's more of conversation that shifted from security or productivity to security through productivity, right? But so here's the question, right? Are we monitoring our way to better security, or are we creating a surveillance state that actually decreases both productivity and security, right? So let's start from Mausumi, from the HR leadership perspective, from people perspective. Then we will go to Raju and Vidyu from the innovation angle. So Mausumi, what do you think?
Okay, so I would reply with another question. Is the data security any more than usual when it comes to the leakage that would happen in the water filter filtration discussions and the chai coffee discussions and the smoke zone discussions? There's a lot of data or gossip that happens as a part of everyday routine. It's just that when we add the word technology to it, somewhere people start getting feeling nervous and antsy about it. It's really something that is part of life. Protecting data or keeping it secure or adding structures and pillars to it, more accountability to it, is a very responsible thing to do. It's a mature thing to do. So I think from a people perspective, having data controlled and managed and monitored and used when it is required is far better than having a unsecured way of data flowing or information flowing everywhere. Then you don't have any control over it. It can cause confusions, create a lot more destruction and damage than any useful outcome. So, from a people perspective, as a HR leader, I think it is very important and a very, very matured act when we are saying, let's be aware of how we are doing things. Let's manage it, put some metrics around it, let's monitor it. It has always been the scheme. It's just that we are talking about it and bringing more technology into it. This has always been part of the scheme. So I always tell this that Fed has always existed. Feds, like we say FBI are the feds. Fed is what? Facts, evidence, data.
Yep,
So Fed
absolutely.
methodology has always existed. It's just that now we have more tools, more technology, so people are getting scared. At an HR level, I say, hey, is this more than what happens in the smoking zones? I don't think so. Right? And that is unstructured information going out, unmanaged, unfiltered, unchecked. That's far more dangerous. So that's my 2 cents on it.
Thank you, Mausumi. I think nicely put in. So, Raju, from your security perspective, what do you think?
Yeah. So I fully agree with the Moshmi from the HR standpoint, where she's coming from. So from the information security or the data security standpoint, it's a kind of the striking a balance between the intelligent monitoring and the trust-based productivity. Okay. So in the wake of high profile breaches, as you just spoke about, it's a kind of a contextual risk-based monitoring that enhances awareness without eroding the employee's anatomy. Okay. So autonomy, I would say, not anatomy. Okay. Yeah, but our surveillance can backfire, breeding mistrust, because if you put across more on the monitoring or the shadowing IT practices, that weakens the security postures at the higher level. But through that, security through productivity means we need to empower our teams with secure by design tools and clear data handling policies. And we need to have some kind of an adaptive monitoring that respects privacy while detecting anomalies as well, both together in sense. So in that sense, I would say that better security comes, it not from the watching more. So I would say it is watching smarter,
Mhm.
my view. Yeah.
That's a wonderful point to put across. Yeah. So watching smarter and using the right tools. Yeah. So, Bidyu, from the innovation perspective, what is your view on this?
Yeah, I think thanks so much for the invite today, and thank you all for joining. So from the security, what I see is that more and more tools are getting added to organizations, and every time there is a new technology comes in, whether it's a cloud, whether it's a AI technology. So every time a new technology comes, there are also additional tools which gets added to the stack of the overall organization. And then there is one more layer of security, I would say, or maybe a protection layer comes into picture. So where we have seen is that there is a lot of overload of multiple surveillance happening. What I see, yes, that is necessary because obviously the data security is the top priority for any organization, from the business, from the overall organization. But the major part should be there should be also culture should be built in so that every employee should understand why we are doing this, what exactly is the importance of this, and if that becomes a part of the culture for every team, whether it's a part of their KRA, whether it's part of their day-to-day activity, or it's part of their business goals, I'm sure that will solve a lot of these incidents which we see of late happens because some kind of a leak happen from a particular technology, or maybe particular tool, or maybe a particular employee. So I'm sure that this is happening. I'm seeing a lot of organizations globally, including in India, are bringing more awareness for multiple employees across the organization. There are a lot of training happening around security, around tools which they are going and using every day. Yeah, I'm sure that is something we need to build, but yes, it's already started.
Yep. Thanks for the view, Bidyu. Okay, so let me now move on to the next topic, right? So, whenever we talk about monitoring, it's also also about question of trust, right? So whether you can actually enable employees by training them and educating them and change the behavior, or you wanted to have tools deployed that also provides insights to make sure there is a compliance, right? And we also talked about oversight. We can't have the oversight, right? So we wanted to have the right tools deployed, and we wanted to educate people that that's actually part of the scheme of things, right? So now, question to Marjorie. So this is the reality, right? So we have monitoring solutions that can tell you what people are doing, during the work hours, or if they're actually, copying some sensitive data to an USB drive and taking home, right? Or they are spending, 45 minutes or 1 hour on a non-work related websites, right? From a HR perspective, this level of visibility is unprecedented, right? But so is the potential for employee backlash as well. So now,
Right.
how do you balance the need for the oversight with maintaining the psychological safety that drives the real productivity?
Thank you. That's a very, very relevant question. That's something that we are always discussing in HR fraternities. So, some of the insights that can be useful uh, with respect to this is, to begin with, we need to be really mindful of the skills for which we are hiring people. So, we are really focusing on having people with high level of emotional intelligence. So the reason why I'm talking about EI or EQ is this: we really want to move to a level of people being self-managed. The reason they shouldn't need, people should not, we need employees who know what they're doing, why they are doing what they're doing, and why the organization is doing what they're doing. Nobody needs to be given information or be given extra coaching to understand basics, because this is a basic of life today. The digital transformation of life in all aspects, not just work, all aspect is the way of life. So there has to be a level of emotional maturity to accept it. So that will automatically lead to psychological safety. Now, coming to some basics that we actually do is we build in a lot of positive reinforcement in understanding the difference between data gathering, data storage, and data usage, or information gathering, information management, and information usage. So they really need, we put in a lot of thought in explaining that the first two does not automatically lead to the third. So it does not mean that we are going to use, so data usage means we may know a lot of information about you, but information used on a need to know basis. It is not immaturely used, it is not callously used against you. And that trust needs to be built through positive reinforcement of again and again sharing these policies, sharing these thought process, sharing these insights with people. It's not going to come overnight. So that's why I'm saying if you hire people with the right skills, who are self-managed, who are emotionally mature, and then you give this positive reinforcement, the trust builds. So that is number one. Number two is, at some point of time, people thought the earth is flat. And when a scientist said that no, it's actually an oblate spheroid, there was fear. Why was the fear? Because of lack of transparency. So when the words that we say get actually executed over a period of time, 1 quarter, 2 quarter, we make things transparent. We tell them, look, we started this particular process, this is the result, etc. The trust will also build. The more we build in transparency, the more we are bringing in things that are visible to all, the more the trust will build. So it's not going to happen overnight. We cannot just put in a system that manages, monitors people's data points and then say, hey, believe us, we are doing it for the best. So it needs execution on the field and transparency. So that communication has to be an ongoing process. That is the second one. And the third is we also need to set the definitions of productivity in very clear terms. For example, the example you gave is somebody is spending a lot of time in things that seemingly seem unrelated to work. So if the KR of a person is set and the person is being judged on a certain output, then we need to be sure that it doesn't matter if the person is spending on 5 different things which seem unrelated. You never know where learning comes from. I may actually, so I'm going to attend a program on succession planning, wherein a cricketer, ex-cricketer is going to tell us how they did succession planning in cricket. Now, my boss may say, what has cricket got to do with HR? So we don't know what will lead to what. Therefore, managing the KRAs of teams and individuals has become very, very critical. Make it more output defined, outcome and output defined, make it more in terms of what is the value add that we are expecting, make it more visible to the person on how I'm going to be managed and monitored. And we have to learn to, from a management and leadership perspective, we have to take a step back on not getting pedantic on what we think is work. So our definitions of work itself, output has to be more output driven, more things which are leading to the actual value, at actual result, and not how we are reaching that journey. So a lot of unlearning, relearning has to be done at all stages, not just for employees. It is also for the management. It is also for the leaders. It is also for the stakeholders. That really builds an overall culture of change and acceptance. So that's how we are doing it. And I would recommend it as very value adding.
Thank you, Musme. I think I just wanted to pick on that, right? So you said about need to know basis. You educate people what you collect, how you use it, right?
Right.
So I just
Right.
want to build on top of that, right? So I wanted to put the security aspect into this need to know versus the privacy. This is to Raju. So now you look at the DLP solutions, which flags, thousands of potential security incidents, right? You may be getting, logs piled up in your screen, and you're actually, seeing all that, unusual file access patterns or some suspicious email being, logged. So here is what we are seeing, right? So as a security team, you're drowning in so many alerts, right? And employees are feeling increasingly survived because you are using various tools, blocking stuff, and it's trying, you're trying to make them unproductive on various aspects. From a CSO perspective, how do you determine what level of monitoring really cross the line from necessary security into this counterproductive paranoia?
Okay. So from CISO's perspective, yeah, if you look at it, so the key is distinguishing between the meaningful risk detection and noise that erodes the trust and efficiency. Okay, so because the DLP solutions are valuable, no doubt about it, but when they generate a flood of low context alerts, okay, they are not only overwhelm the security teams, but also creates a culture of suspicious among the employees. So the line here is crossed when monitoring becomes indiscriminate. Okay, but the flagging every anomaly without prioritization of the context is a dangerous thing. But instead, the CISOs must adopt a risk-based, behavior-aware approach that can turn into the DLP rules the focus on high-impact threats based on the risk and what is coming into that, and leveraging machine learning for smarter alerting and maintaining a transparency with employees. So transparency is very, very important feature, important aspect when we talk to the employees. So about what is monitored and why it is monitored. Okay? And security should feel like a partnership. It's not a policing, first of all. So I mean that kind of culture we need to build between our employees and the security teams which is in the organization. So when monitoring supports rather than stifles, so that work environment, it protects both data and productivity together. So that's what in my view of looking at it.
Thank you, Rajat. So now, going to a bit here. So now, see, you have that, expertise with the observability solutions, right? So now probably, you capture more behavioral patterns, with your tools. So what do you think? Like, are we creating more signal or more noise? Or if we are actually, creating signal, how, AI is really helping you to, really achieve this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we are I would not say creating, but we're collecting more data. That means there is obviously a data overload. And when you have a data overload, that means it's become more complex for the teams to kind of monitor this data. So that is why tools like observability or maybe any of those monitoring tools, which becomes very important, wherein you create necessary dashboards for every role of your organization which are part of that business. That means, say you as a business team needs to only know what is happening around the business metrics. A DevOps team may only be knowing about something related to the DevOps. Development team will know something related to the logs or maybe their application performance. So as an organization, if you have created enough relevant dashboards for those particular roles, it is very easy to monitor even if there is a data overload. But yes, there is a growing data coming from the different sources, and obviously there are also more and more sub roles getting created inside different teams. So today we talk about inside the development. We talk about there is a front end developer, there is a back end developer, there is a DBA, there is a DevOps, there is a SRE, there is a NOC, there is a SOC. So there are so many roles inside a particular development, which maybe was called very generic term as developer maybe 10 years back. So that is why it is very important that what information you are sharing with which particular role, and is it sufficient for him to work or improve his productivity. If we are doing enough in creating those dashboards using those latest technologies, I'm sure even if more data comes in along with the new technologies like generative AI and a lot of other things, it is going to be easier and not complex. And I'm already seeing that enterprises have realized this, and they have already started their journey towards this particular goal.
Okay. Wonderful. So do we have Anirudh as well? So Anirudh, do you want to add your view on this point? Okay.
Yeah.
No
So
problem. Okay. So let's.
yeah. No. So I think yeah, it is a bit tricky, and in my experience, again, I have worked with multiple companies, especially when generative AI was, or rather, when Chat GPT was becoming very famous, and it was just launched. I think almost all the companies were facing this challenge as to how do we make sure that our employees are using Chat GPT and not sending sensitive, you know, their company information onto uh, these services. Um, and it was a valid concern. And so I think multiple companies started taking multiple different approaches. So, for example, I know one company that built they did not allow their employees to log on to ChatGPT, but instead they created their own portal through which you could access ChatGPT, OpenAI services. In which way then, so that the prompts can be monitored, and they actually added some additional guardrails to the prompt so that sensitive information is not sent, and things like that. But at the same time, what happened is that it becomes very expensive if you build a system like this and you try to do your own OpenAI calls and all. It's not easy, and it's not a cost effective solution. So then there are other companies, then now we have technologies like DLP, for example. Microsoft's M365 DLP solution can even monitor browser data and make sure that the sensitive information is not going. So yeah, it's a bit of a sort of a difficult path to tread. That should we make our employees more productive, or should we monitor what they're doing? It becomes a bit of a challenge. Yes.
I think it's more about balancing act, not being not being too restrictive, and also opening up and allowing the innovation to them. Right?
Yeah, some companies have trust first kind of a policy. Some people have zero trust policy. Microsoft, for example, for the longest time had a trust first policy where they trusted their employees to make the right decisions but if something went wrong, then they really took very harsh actions. So that to set an example. But then soon they realized that it's not that, so they moved to a zero trust policy. So yeah, it's tricky.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anirudh, for adding your view there. So, so from the beyond the traditional DLPs, right? So in our space, this is what is happening, where we are trying to bring in AI to predict what's going to happen, right? So even with the some of the data breach stories, if you hear, a majority of them are happened due to an unintentional or intentional insider data threat, right? So somehow they would have actually compromised some aspects of credentials or opened up something where bad actors were able to seep into the network and steal the data, right? Now when you're actually able to monitor leveraging the technology and able to predict what's going to happen, who may be the potential next insider threat within your organization, right? So it really provides you sort of a preparation. You will be able to take proactive measures, right? So now I wanted to ask you, Bijut, from the AI ethics standpoint, right? So where is this line? The observability solutions, you deal with the same predictive analytics, right? So what's going to happen? These are all the logs you're collecting based on the users or maybe their applications or network or server services. Now, are we entering a realm where we are making employment decisions based on these algorithmic assumptions about the intent, based on what they do today? That's what is going to happen tomorrow. What is your view?
So I think it's very early to say, but what I can say we are seeing is that definitely with the newer or latest models which coming into the market, there are faster RCS. That means to identify an issue which might have occurred inside your system or maybe a threat. It may used to take days, if not weeks, maybe sometimes in hours. Now has become maybe in few minutes, if not seconds. So the finding out the RCA is becoming very easy because with different technologies, including LLMs, with AI agents, etc. Then that also helps you kind of noise reduction, like we were discussing in the earlier point, that you're getting a lot of more data coming from your different application, different systems, different employee laptops. But because you are using this predictive analysis, so you know what data you needs to collect and not everything, right? So you would be able to collect more relevant data. But at the same time, you're also need to build trust. When you say point of ethical, so you need to build trust among your employees. Let them know that how the accountability lies with them, what kind of data they are accessing, how they are sharing this data within their organization and outside their organization. All of this needs to kind of, I'm sure organizations already have certain policies, but also needs to be told during different sessions so that they understand what is the risk associated with that. And while dealing with this kind of data, right? So, and of course, this is very kind of, I would say, in balance now. We can't say what's going to happen in next 6 months or maybe 1 year because of a lot of new things, lot of noise coming in the market. Yeah, I'm sure it will get streamlined over a period of time for sure.
Thanks, Pradyut. So maybe just to know, related to that, Mosmi, to you. So now, if you're able to collect the employee data, right, able to predict somebody, some individual, he may be a top performer in your organization, right? So if I say that, okay, this individual is going to be a flight risk for you, right? What would be your way of handling this? This is purely based on his activity on the system, based on the pattern in the past. We are predicting that this is what is going to happen to this top performer. So how do you react to it?
That's a very good question. And, let me just share one anecdote which happened in the beginning of my career when I had just started my career with Microsoft. We used to have people who, till the morning of their joining, tell us we are on our way, we'll come. We send the car to pick them up, and then they never turned up. So we always used to wait for some, on a lighter note. I wish there was some magic which would tell us when people are lying. So 20 years later, seems like there is some sort of technological magic that has happened, which is kind of telling me this is a possibility. It still cannot get inside people's heads and heart. Thank God for that. But somewhere, it's almost like the universe listened, universe takes time to move. And today I have technology which is at least giving me some predictive information which says this person, I don't look at it as this person. How we interpret the data is important. So I will not interpret it, that is AI telling me this person is a flight risk. How
Yeah.
I'll interpret human mind, I will interpret it, this person is not fully engaged. So that's the way I'll interpret that there is something that is not making this person fully aligned with his current work situation. And maybe that's the reason this person is showing behaviors that can be considered as a flight risk. So this gives me an opportunity to
Yeah.
work around that and build and have a honest conversation with the person,
Yeah.
and with the stakeholders around that person, see if there is a gap and if that can be addressed and changed proactively. So it is like a very big tool given to me to do something proactively, and it is beautiful. Having said that, it also gives me an opportunity to figure out that, hey, you may sometimes do all the things right and still somebody is not happy. So then it gives me an opportunity to have that honest conversation also, and then prepare for a succession plan.
Mhm.
So in both cases, this predictive thought process is at least letting me have a conversation, one human being to another human being. So machine comes, a technology comes and tells me there seems to be a problem there. How the human mind, how two human minds respond to it is completely on them. AI is not defining that.
Mhm.
So then we can, like I said, I will not see it as a flight risk and create a big ruckus around it. I'd rather see why is the person disengaged. So that's where, the balance needs to be played out. So there is AI, and so there is artificial intelligence, and then there is real intelligence. So we can't put everything under the AI bucket. And at some point of time, we are the people who faced this issue when people would lie and not be truthful. That brings us to my other point, which I made. Let's start hiring or training people around emotional intelligence. So there is AI, there is real intelligence, and then there is ethics. So all three needs to be marinated and work together into an output. Then it works beautifully. If any of it is disproportionate, so if we are putting ethics on the background and we will say, hey, you are a flight risk today, so I'll fire you today. That is like you're putting completely ethics out of the background, because
Mhm.
intent is not content. Intent
Yeah.
is invisible, content is visible. Content of action, behavior, what is said, what is done needs to
Mhm.
take priority over intent. So then that's why we have to play this balancing act of using artificial intelligence, mix it with real intelligence, and add in ethics. And
Wonderful.
then business decisions need to be taken. So that is
Thank
what
you
we do
much.
all the time, and it helps.
Makes sense. Yeah, I think the human in the loop has to be there, right? So whatever you have, technology involved in predicting it, have the human and empathy into it, and then see what went wrong for this kind of an act. Right? Wonderful. So
Right.
let me know. Come to Raju for this security aspect of this question, right? So now we see this it creates massive privacy violations. When you gather so much of data, and it creates employee mistrust as well, right? So in all organizations now, either they use ChatGPT or some form of Gen AI tools now, right? And how many of them actually really approved through the IT department? Right, so you can say that pretty much everyone wanted to use it, and they wanted to be productive, and they use some form of Gen AI tools. Now, my question, Raju, how do you leverage AI for the security without becoming the AI police that drives productivity underground?
Yeah, so it has got both the sides. Like the AI can be like both as a guardian, or both you can use it as an intruder also. Because for using it as a guardian, we have few experts. For using it as an intruder, we have more experts outside the world. Okay, so to leverage this AI for the security without becoming like AI policing, etc., the CISOs must shift from control to collaboration, because so far the CISOs are more in deploying the security controls across the organization. So from that we need to shift to the collaboration aspect. The first we need to it's kind of an acknowledge that yes, I mean you cannot stop using the Gen AI or the the Chat GPT or whatever you are using in the organization. Okay, but however we need to use it to boost the efficiency. So
Yeah.
instead of as sometime back Anirudh was rightly saying, one of the company has banned the using of the Chat GPT, because and then they started preparing their own tool, and then it's been expensive and more tricky, etc. kind of thing. So instead
Yeah.
of we have such kind of heavy surveillance or complete banning, so we can implement the guardrails,
Yeah.
inbuilt guardrails, and we can classify the data sensitivity, and we can deploy the context aware monitoring. Okay, then we can use this kind of integrating the AI usage policies that are transparent and practical, where we can co-create with the business units. Okay, and also we can say that the encouraging, we need to encourage our employees to do the safe innovation, but if you say if you start saying that no, you do the safe innovation and practice this thing that thing, then they may not be following those aspects. But however, we can create some kind of approved environments, some kind of secure AI tools and sandbox environments which are predefined and approved environments. So then that the employees will feel trusted, okay, and then they will be supporting rather than they're watched and restricted kind of things, okay. So then when the employee feel this kind of the mindset, then they will become the partners for the security instead of they become the against towards security, okay. So I would say that now using this AI responsibly is very, very important, but it's not about stopping the AI. It's about how do we steer it wisely by putting all these the practices in place. So that's what in my take on this.
Okay, thank you, Raji. So let me
Chandra,
move on. Yeah,
Chandra, Avinash here. So there's some interesting comments in the chat section. So
maybe we'll go through that.
yeah, you can go to that later or wherever, whenever you feel comfortable.
Yeah, I think it's okay. So let's cover on one more topic. Is my screen visible in the sharing? No.
Nope.
Not yet.
No, the screen is not visible.
You have to reshare it again, Chandra.
Okay, I think okay. So I think it's not letting me to share that screen. But I think maybe my role is changing that other one. Okay. Okay, so let me now get on to the beyond that, the data collection and all that. So let us actually look from the positive aspect of it, right? So now let us look at the predictive productivity. Like we are collecting data, right? How we are able to augment this data and then say, okay, this is where AI is going to help the individuals to augment their performance, right? So that's where the evolution happens. Right now, we are using the vibe coding tools. We are using various tools for documentation, especially the gig workforce. Leveraging AI tools for high productivity. They may be able to do it a lot cheaper than now, faster, and able to be creative, right? So they are able to bring in the human aspect of it, but then able to generate certain things very fast, right? So now coming to Bidyut on this. So from the AI observability perspective, are we moving toward augmented productivity where AI becomes a performance coach rather than a surveillance tool? What is your
I think absolutely. So where we are going is we were coming from watching and alerting to now we are moving to assisting, guiding, right? That means earlier we used to collect data and just give a information that this is what is happening. Probably you may go ahead and check. Say, take example, you have multiple system in different locations. Earlier you used to put a monitoring tool there. The monitoring tool will send just a notification email saying that system is down. That's it, right? From there, with the latest technology coming in with predictive analysis and AI agents, what we are going ahead with is that this is exactly what would have happened. The system went down, but after analyzing all the logs, traces, metrics, I have understood that there are possible two reasons why this might have gone down. And if you give me further access, I will go even more deeper and tell you what exactly would have happened. So this is where we are coming from, right? So a human being from only getting an alert, and then he needs to dig further down and understand from different metrics and data they have to identifying the RCA, to now he gets all the information. What exactly he needs to do now is a human analysis, or I would say is the human intelligence. What is the action should be taken if the system is down for this particular region, as a business process or as a company's policy, what exactly I need to do. That is where human intervention comes in. That means from a watching something to now it's becoming a decision making. So I'm definitely the productivity is augmenting because of this multiple new technologies which are coming, including AI agents, etc. So I'm definitely seeing that already.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think So this is something now I wanted to go to Mosmi now. So you already mentioned this, Mosmi, where you said like, you are actually using this data proactively to support the individuals, right? So from,
Right.
understanding that, you are collecting the data is, could predict which employee need additional support, who has to be, I mean, you are also, able to identify the focus hours when they are actually, staying productive. You don't want to disturb them by scheduling a meeting at that time, and who need a skill development, right? And wherever, things go bad, before that you're able to predict all this. So how would that change your HR strategy?
Okay, so I'll give you an example of a real life activity that we did and we are doing is we started using AI to manage or watch or identify time sinks. Where is the time sinking when employees are there in the office? So
Yeah.
we helped identify uh, these points. What is the time spent on monitor? Your laptop monitor in net browsing and Slack replies and all of those things, emailing. Then the next is the time spent in meetings. So time spent on monitors, time spent in meetings, time spent in individual work, and time spent in deep work, deep thinking. People need time to think deep on a problem. So individual work does not actually lead to deep thinking. So you need specific time and mindset to do that. And the last is time to unwind. So in a 8 hours work schedule, how much of time is going individually and what is it leading to? So this activity gave us a very clear picture of how much time is going in, say, meetings, or how much time is going in emails and all these Slack and other such intercommunication tools, internal tools, and how much is actually going into problem solving and deep thinking. So that gave a very clear picture on where the time sinks are. So that helped us plan, manage work better. Then we further had this helped managers have a clear conversation on what is it that you want us to do? What do you want us to reduce? And it came clearly that meetings are seen as not value adding by most people. And yet they took the maximum time. So the largest time sink was meetings. So then we started having a very clear agenda on no meeting days. It became a clear action item for us. Similarly, the other thing that people said is, a very strict work timing interferes with the deep thinking aspect, because a deep thinking mindset is different for different people. Some people are better thinkers at night. Some people get up early in the morning to do some problem solving thinking. So give us flexibility in work so that the best output comes. So this is just an example I'm giving you on how we are using AI to formulate HR practices which are actually beneficial. So look what came out of it. We completely reduced the biggest time sink, non-value added biggest time sink, that is meetings. We started giving flexibility of work so that people are able to do their problem solving and deep thinking when it suits them. And it also helps us reduce their narrative that you don't help us. It completely takes away that narrative. So what came out of it, believe it or not, actually what came out of it is better attendance, better participation. So because people attend so much of meetings, whenever we would have meetings or initiatives like say a town hall or a soft skill training, there would be no participation. Instead of that, now there is a positive force and people are actually participating willfully in team building issues and activities. So these are some of the ways in which AI and data through AI is helping us rethink what we did, those classical HR methods, and it's really, really working. So if that helps, that's my two pennies.
Thank you, Masmi. Okay, so we are now kind of getting into this conclusion, and then we'll go through the messages that audience posted. So one, in this predictive space, quickly to Raju. Could predictive analytics actually strengthen security by identifying and addressing the vulnerabilities in human behavior, before they become incident? What's your experience, Rajat?
Yeah. So in the interest of time, I'll give the short answer for this. Yes, I mean absolutely that's correct, because the predictive analysis or can strengthen the security by spotting actually the risk behavior patterns. That's very very important here, because from the human the emotional balance or kind of thing. So it like stress or kind of unusual the assets or mistakes what they do, because they lead to the incidents. Because when the human is in stress, human is in like the not having the properly emotionally balanced, then they tend to do such kind of mistakes. So by
Yeah.
addressing these early, by using our predictive analytics tools whatever we have, then we can support them, then we can support the humans I mean, like employees, by providing the necessary training. Okay, so then we can say that an organization can prevent these kind of breaches, so while empowering employees but not punishing them. Okay.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rajat. Thank you. So that kind of concludes our session. Thank you for the panel members for your thought process and view on various subjects within this data security and employee productivity. So now we'll move on to the Q&A, and I see some posts there already. So let me know. Yeah.
Ankit
So
has posted a question there, so we can
Yeah.
take that. Yeah.
So yeah, so let me pick up a question there. Okay, so I see that we can use the notice and consent process of data privacy in making all aware of what is being monitored. The intention behind monitoring, yeah, being transparent about it, and this can be used in the right sense. Absolutely. I've seen a process where there is a pop-up window coming when we log into the network which says do's and don'ts. Yeah, that's right. So we have browser plugins, which pops up and tells you like, what you can do and what you shouldn't do, right? And now for chat GPT tools as well, some organizations have deployed that, when you get to have this prompt and what you can share, what you shouldn't share, if at all, you're having any sensitive data, that shouldn't be the place, you have to interact with. Right? So you're getting educated, while you are actually doing certain things, right? And then I see a question like, what should be done when the operations team isn't aligned with the InfoSec or the governance, risk and compliance efforts, and starts taking shortcuts that may lead to serious compliance risk later on? So from the panel, any of you wanted to take it? Maybe this for Raju, I guess. Raju, you want to take this question? The question is, what should be done when the operations team isn't aligned with the InfoSec or GRC efforts, and start taking shortcuts that may lead to serious compliance risk later on?
Yeah. You got it. Yeah. So when the operations team is not aligned with the InfoSec or the GRC, okay, and taking any shortcuts. So what I can look at this problem statement is, first we need to start initiating the dialogues with the team, instead of the blaming, right? Okay, so initiative, as I said that step back, we need to shift from the control to collaborative mode. So initiate a collaborative conversation to understand why the shortcuts are being taken. Try to understand that one first. Okay, and often and then I need to highlight the business impact. By taking the shortcuts, is it going to impact any business, or by following the process is going to highlight the the productivity of the business? And then third point I would say is like we need to embed the security into the operations. So it's kind of security by design. We need to practice and then follow. Shift from oversight to the integration. So oversight is about after thought process or the reactive process, I would say. Okay, and always we need to inculcate some kind of the culture, like it is a kind of a shared responsibility. Security is a shared responsibility. It's been with both the parties together. Okay, it will be like you need to start creating the joint KPIs. Okay, and then escalation is at the last moment if when is needed. The risk,
Yeah.
it remains ignored, because if the risk is ignored, then we need to start escalating that to the executive leadership team, and then take the necessary documentation, incidents, and plan, blah blah blah. Everything you need to practice as per your written standard operating procedures. That's how we look at it. Yeah, Chandra.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Raju. So now moving on to the next point. Yeah, AI is the best tool to collect data and identify threats. True. But human is still the best one to decide whether the attack is real or false positive. Yeah. So having the human in the loop, maybe you are making it productive. The process can be productive by leveraging the technology, but then you still involve the human to make sure that's taken on the data. In Unmesh Meshram posted, there is a need of investigation and prioritization performed by AI and raise the instance which would reduce the noise and provide right information. Absolutely, right? So you do the filtering, right? So you set the business rules, what is actually important for you, classify with some sort of a ranking, and then you look at only the red flags, but not everything, right? So that's an amazing point, yeah. Then we have Jyoti mentioning about threat intelligence from team behavior aspect. It's very nice. Yeah, absolutely. So now if you look at a lot of modern tools now with AI on top of it, doing the prediction based on the user activity and understanding what's going to be the threat for your organization based on employee behavior. I think it's a really great tools to have it in every organization, I would say. If anyone wanted to, ask questions over the mic, please, unmute and please have your questions there. We're almost there in the end of the session, so we have a couple more minutes to, discuss.
We encourage participants who are from from the registered list of participants. Please do go ahead and ask questions. I think there's one question from Romel De Lozano.
Yeah. DLP is already integrated in the most of gateway or network security aside from productivity monitoring. What is the advantage or why do companies need this product? Yeah, maybe I'll take this question, Romeo.
Okay.
See, yes, you do have the network level monitoring, right? So there are different layers of information exchange. So before it actually passes through the external world, it's actually starting from an individual. Somewhere you're sitting in a computer. Maybe at that application layer, your interaction with an application, what you're actually copying, and what you're actually doing on a system, right? You may be using a CRM system. You may be copying, pasting, and creating a kind of a database of your organization contact, and then you're sharing with your friend who's working in another organization, right? So how do you actually prevent all these activity, right? So you need to actually have a layer that actually starts from the employee-centric tracking approach. And then it gets into the layer of network, and it may be corporate data center. So you may need to track the complete flow of data from an individual to outside your network, right? So that's where it will be helping you to track employees and what they're actually doing, and also at the network level you have to track it with various other tools, right? So you have one tool that does everything, and there may be tools that are good at the network only, but then from the endpoint perspective you may have to leverage separate tool, right? From Avinash, we will okay, yeah, so you're sharing the PPT. Yeah, that's correct.
Just the information.
So we'll be sharing the PPT after this session, so you get an idea on various things. Okay.
Anybody else wants to ask a question? Please unmute yourself and speak out, or just type here. We welcome questions.
All right. Thank you, Raju.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Raju.
Right. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Avinash. Thank you.
Thanks for joining, and thanks, Chandra and the panelists, for
Thanks,
having
everyone.
a very vivid and very interesting conversation. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chandra. Thank you, everyone. It was wonderful.
Thank you, Maushmiji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.